What happens when you get two guys from the street who absolutely love to eat and give them a license to rant? You get your hosts, John Peasy and Mikey Sausage.
Oh, Peasy!
Hey!
This fucking guy. This guy messes around with more stuff before we start a show that they... I don't want to.
I know. We shouldn't bring your wife into this.
Get off on a negative note. What I want to do right now is, since you wasted so much of my friend Jackie Martling's time, I just want to bring him in. I know he's your friend first, okay, but he's my friend second, and he likes me better now. So
he's not my friend. I haven't seen him all summer.
That doesn't matter. You don't have to see somebody to be a friend.
I know. We don't want to waste any time with what you and me about what we've done. We're ugly guys with interesting conversation right now.
This guy is very important to us, and we want to bring him right on here. And he's ready to go. And what do you think?
Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Jackie, the Joke Man.
The Joke Man.
Joke Man. Martling.
Jackie, yeah, you are. You're in the middle.
I could have drawn a cartoon of this show in the time it took you assholes to get this working.
He's talking about you and the producer.
How does it feel to be between two fat guys?
I'm used to it. Usually I have to pay good money for that, so I appreciate it. Hey, I know I've been a pain in the ass because this has been a pain in the ass waiting for you guys, but it's a pleasure to be here. You know how much I love both you guys. So, and you know, if I wasn't trying to sell my book, I wouldn't have taken the to begin with.
Listen, we know that's the truth, but honestly, who do you love more? This fat guy or that fat guy?
I like the producer that's been pulling his hair out 45 minutes trying to figure out why he's working with two big fat assholes.
But now that made me nervous because you like a guy that looks like a Nazi. That's a little fucked up, Jackie.
No, that's the attraction. My grandfather was killed in Auschwitz. Did you know that?
I didn't hear it.
We didn't hear it.
My grandfather died in Auschwitz.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, he fell off a guard tower.
I fucking knew that.
That's a horrible old joke.
Yeah, he's running. Hey, can we get a little blue? And he comes out with a fucking Auschwitz joke right out of the gate.
There you go. Let's negate that 20% of the population again.
Right, I'm going to tell you my new joke. So a guy wakes up in a hospital bed, and he looks up, and there's a nurse looking down at him, and she says, "You were in a terrible accident. You won't feel anything from the waist down." He says, "Well, then can I squeeze your tits?"
That was going to be a marriage joke.
That's my favorite part about Jackie, that he laughs at his own jokes.
What am I going to do? Wait for you, you fat bastard?
No, that's the funniest thing because that's to me, I enjoy that the most. But me and Jackie played the golf outing together, and we didn't want to. You remember that, Jackie? You were playing that golf outing?
PC. I don't know if you know the story, but the way I make my CDs and my joke albums is they just joke after joke after joke. And sometimes I leave in a comment, sometimes I leave in a little crowd stuff, but for the most time, it's just joke after joke after joke. And me and Mikey Sausage are at this golf outing, and we're in a golf cart. And he says, "Oh, you know a joke about everything." And there's a turtle on the golf cart. He goes, "All right, joke man, let's hear your box turtle joke." So I told him a box turtle joke. And then I used to tell people on stage, yeah, I was with this guy, Mikey Sausage, and he's so big and fat that the golf cart was tilted to one side. And he says, "There's a box turtle." And I told the whole story. And I was going to put that, I thought I put it on the CD. And I didn't realize that it must have got tight for time. So I cut that story out and forgot. And I sent Mike the CD. I said, "Hey, the story of us in the golf cart is on the CD," and he listened to it 5 fucking times, but it wasn't on there.
That's his way to get me to listen to every fucking track on every
I think it would have been funny actually to see Mikey in the cart with the thing leaning sideways on a 45-degree angle.
And I'm not kidding. It really was completely tilted. It was hysterical.
Oh, but Peasy, we weren't even telling jokes. We were just telling punchlines and laughing. It was really fun.
Oh, it's great fun. Great fun.
Where you been, Jackie? We haven't seen you in so long. What you been up to?
Are
you in Joke Land right now with that backdrop?
I am sitting right now. Yes. I'm sitting in Joke Land.
Okay.
My family's just here. It was the most beautiful beach day in the entire world. So my sister and her husband, and my niece and her fiance, and my nephew and his girlfriend, and about 12 other people and my girlfriend, just on the beach, and they're all drinking and having a great old time, smoking a little pot, doing a little swimming. It's just so beautiful here. I got some great stuff going on. I'm in a sitcom pilot called Shoot Me Nicely. And if you want to see the trailer, it's at shootmenicely.com. And it also works as a short movie, a 20-minute movie. And we've been winning awards. Last night, we won the Austin Historical Society Best TV Show Award. We're winning awards like crazy. And one of the stars of the sitcom is Linda Hamilton. And 2 days ago, they announced that they're making a Terminator sequel with Linda Hamilton, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Cameron's produced it. So all of a sudden, we got a superstar on it. So we're actually going to probably make a sitcom, and I'm going to get rich just in time to die.
Well,
it's really fun. I'm doing, John, I'm still doing my gigs. I'm going for no money, a lot of money, a little money, too much money, and going and telling the same stupid jokes and laughing my balls off and having the time of a lifetime. And I enjoy it more every time. And people say, how can you still do it? And I'm like, you know how it is, man. You just, I'm sure it's a disease. I don't know if I got myself hypnotized, but I'm driving further for less and less money. And I just, once I get up there, I'm on fire. I'm in heaven. You know, it's, you know, how do you explain that to people? You can't,
I don't
right?
think they'll never understand. I don't think they'll ever understand the whole game here. And, you know, I think I remember years ago, Al Roker said on the Today Show, which I thought was an interesting thing. He was like, he was talking about somebody making a ton of money and just wanting to jump off the train. He goes, if I'm on a train and I don't care what part of the car I'm on, I'm going to go all the way to the end of the back of the train, and I'm going to hang on that last piece of steel and let my body fly out as it's moving down until I fall off. He goes, I'm not getting off the train until the train is actually throwing me off. And I really kind of appreciated that idea of it, because as long as somebody wants to hear you, why don't you want to be out there? And there's you have tons of people that love listening to your stuff. I mean, I'm a big fan since I was when I started. Comedy is music to my ears and so many other people. So,
but I've been very lucky because I got a whole second life, because there's so much comedy on the internet and on Sirius XM and everything, and on Spotify and Pandora. And if you type in my name, you get endless dirty jokes. And people that are driving on long trips, you can only listen to so much music before you climb the walls, and then dirty jokes just do it. So, I have young fans that they have no idea of Howard Stern. They don't even know who the hell I am. I'm just the idiot telling the filthy jokes. But I have people come to my shows. Jackie, I came to see you in 1982. I want you to meet my son. I'm waiting for somebody to say this is my grandson. That's when I'm going to kill myself, But it's exciting. Last night I had people, guy says, oh, I saw you at Governor's opening night. I'm like, holy Christ, that's 1981, man. That's a long time ago.
Governors.
But it's
wow.
good.
The Governor's really taking it back. Jeez,
It's creepy.
I can remember like a Governor's plug. That's just in my head. Catch Jackie the Joke Man at Governor's Comedy Club.
And dial 516 wine.
516-922 wine is still in operation. That freaks people out.
In your attic.
How many years, Jackie?
Dial 516-922-9463. Hello, this is Jackie, and you know how much I love it when you use your finger, and then endless dick jokes. And then, I'm appearing right now. I'm appearing September 30th at the Suffolk Theater in Riverhead on Long Island. Come out, play Stump the Joke Man, and then I tell another dirty joke, and it's the same old thing. Now I'm doing it on Twitter every day at 4:20. I tweet jokes at Jackie Martling. Dirty jokes. People tweet back, you suck, you're an idiot. That's a child joke.
What 20? What's the hook about 420?
International Marijuana Time. That's when everybody smokes pot.
Yeah, see how
They're
straight
still arguing about where that came from. Supposedly it was a bunch of school kids in California that used to go out after class, after they got out of school, and go get stoned at 420. But meanwhile, they've come up with 10,000 versions of why 420, and it's pretty funny. Go on the internet.
How long is 922 wine around now, Jackie?
When in 1979, there was no comedy clubs. There was no place for a comedian or anybody to do anything, and we were all working at Richard M. Dixon's White House Inn on Long Island. Me, Minervini, Rob Bartlett, Bob Nelson, Eddie Murphy, all these people. And Richard M. Dixon was an old guy who had himself surgically altered to look like Richard M. Nixon. He wouldn't pay us. He'd only give us beer. So me and Minervini started doing a show at a place called Cinnamon in Huntington in a restaurant. And we got the bright idea we're going to do shows, and how we can get the word out. We didn't have any money, and I got the bright idea. I'll get a phone line and tell a dirty joke and then say we're going to be at Cinnamon that night. And that was in January of 1979. And it's been going nonstop ever since. At one point, there were 10 lines, and it was, we were getting thousands and thousands of calls a day from literally from all over the world. And I'm not exaggerating. And that's how I got hooked up with Rick Dees from Los Angeles, who's actually the guy who named me Jackie the Joke Man. All the shit's in my book. People are going to go wild. The people that have read it are like, holy Christ, I thought I knew about you. And they don't know anything about me. I'm not saying it's interesting. They just don't know it.
That's great, though. I work with Minervini, worked with me last night. We both did a gig at a country club in Rochester, Rockland County, Westchester, last night. And another guy, 30-year veteran, consummate act, clean, funny, strong, just like a real pro, a real top. He got, and you know something? Minervini for 30 years. I don't know him for as long. To me, he became the new Ray Garvey. The guy is like, I give him my kidney. He's such a great guy. He really is.
No, he's a very, very good man. We started that show at Cinnamon in 1979, and we've been asshole buddies ever since. It's like,
look at these old pictures getting. You see those old pictures on the screen?
Yeah.
That picture right there is me and Eddie Murphy and Rob Bartlett at the East Side Comedy Club, which is Richie Minervini's club that literally grew out of the show that we were doing at that place, Cinnamon in Huntington. We go way, way, way back, man. It's crazy. Did Minervini ever tell you the story of how we met?
No.
Because there's two distinct versions, and they're both true. The reason that I'm a comedian is because a guy named Michael Epstein, Epi, from My Father's Place in Roslyn, is such a cheap fuck. And the reason I got to meet Rodney Dangerfield is because Richie Minervini is a liar. So it was a big deal when my band used to get booked at this place, My Father's Place, because the Rolling Stones had been there, Bruce Springsteen, everybody worked at this show bar in Roslyn on Long Island. It's funny. It's called My Father's Place. People go, oh, your father had a place? No, the name of it was My Father's Place. So my band was booked there. So we're excited, and we go to show up for sound check. And the cheap son of a bitch, Epi, had booked the Gong Show auditions for Channel 7 TV to make a few extra bucks. So we couldn't do a sound check. So I'm sitting there, and they're putting the acts on for the Gong Show, auditions. And these guys get up, these two comedians get up one at a time. And I'm like, shit, I'm funnier than these guys. And one of them was Minervini. And I went up to him after he got off stage, and I said, hey, how the hell did you get to be a comedian? I swear this is a true story. He said, easy. I had cards printed up. And he handed me a business card. I can send it to you to put up there. He handed me his business card and said, Richie Minervini, comedian. And it had the name of his agent, who was Patti Smythe's mother, the singer.
Wow.
And we became fast friends. Now, the way he tells the story, which is also true, is that a couple nights before that, I had been in the local bar, and I was really drunk, and they wouldn't serve me because it was after hours. And some other guys came in who worked at a local bar, and bartenders will serve each other no matter what time. It's kind of an unwritten thing. So they served the bartenders. I'm like, what's this? This is bullshit. What's going on? And somebody cold cocked me. And I mean, I had a huge shiner. So before me and Minervini met, he said that he got off stage and he saw this. I had a ponytail down the middle of my back, and he saw this hot chick with long blonde hair and a nice ass. And he went up and tapped me on the shoulder. And when I turned around, not only was a guy, but it was a guy with a huge black eye. And he almost shit his pants. And then I said, how'd you get to be a comedian? Blah, 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 blah. So that was our introduction to each other, which is so great.
Now, where did Minervini come from, though? Where did he come from out of his? What was he doing prior to that?
He was selling real estate, and he got the bright idea he wanted to try doing comedy, and he just jumped up and gave it a shot. He's a go-getter. He's a hustler. You know, he's a crazy Italian.
He's a very charismatic guy, just like you. He's a good guy, and he's a great guy.
So we became good friends, and he used to open up for my band here and there, and he used to bring girls with him to see. He tells how he'd bring a date to see my band, and we were so filthy that the girl would never go out with him again, but he loved us. So my grandmother died, and my girlfriend and I are living in her house. And sometimes Richie would come and crash at my house, crash at our house on the couch or whatever. He'd just stop by and we'd bullshit. He was a good friend. And this is a true story. One night he walked in, he said, "Oh man," he says, I was at Dangerfield's tonight. They put me on. I killed. Rodney saw me. He said he's going to use me on TV. Oh, it was fantastic. And I was so jealous. It was like 1978. I wasn't even a comic yet. I was so jealous. So I took every joke I could think of and every joke I had in my notes from all the years of playing in the band and got a piece of paper with carbon and typed out 6 pages of jokes that I thought would fit Rodney. And I folded it up and put it in an envelope. And the next time Richie came over, this is a true story, man. I handed him the envelope and said, "Here, give this to your friend Rodney." And he goes, "Oh man," he says, I didn't get on stage. I didn't even get, Rodney wasn't even there. I'm like, "You fuck, you liar." And I swear to God, on Strike Me Dead, he goes, "But I was there. I swear I was there." And he took a matchbook out of his pocket. It had the picture of Dangerfield, you know, like that, you know. Dangerfield's 10001 First Avenue, and there was the address. What do I got to lose? So I just wrote the address, and I wrote a note. "Rodney, here's some jokes. I hope you like them." And I mailed it. I had nothing to lose. Wow. And 2 days later, the phone rang.
Get the hell out of here.
Hello. Who is this? It's Rodney. I said, "Rodney who?" He said, "I knew you were fucking funny. I knew you were funny. You know, you're really fucking funny. I like some of these jokes here." And he bought some jokes and we became friends, all because Minervini lied.
Crazy. It's insane. It's such an insane story.
Is that great? And my book is 300 pages of stories like that from the Stern Show, from my life, from all kinds of stuff. But they're all weird, twisted. It's a fun read, you know. And you know, I made the book it's all modular stories. So you take a dump and read one story or read 3 stories, and you know, you don't have to worry about finding your place. And it's good, you know. It's a lot about me, and then there's like probably 2/3 of it is stories about from the Stern Show, you know. And it's fun, you know. I talked about quitting drinking. I told the whole story of leaving the show, all the numbers, everything. You know, I didn't hold back nothing.
Now, but is there anything in there that maybe someone wouldn't want you to put in there?
I don't think so. But to tell you the truth, if you touched Howard with a feather, he'd say, "Why'd you hit me with a sledgehammer?" So, you know, like, we'll see. But there's, it's already going around the internet. "Oh, Jackie Martling writes explosive autobiography. Oh, heads are going to roll," you know. And nobody's even seen the book. They're just completely making that up. Artie Lang did the foreword, which is so great. And I did the audio book, which is so much fun. I dictated my entire book.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Artie did his forward. Artie dictated his forward into the.
Oh, so that's great. That's a great
idea. So between the Kindle and the audio version on audible.com, everything's being released on October 24th. And if you go to JackieTheJokeman.com, the Amazon page pops right up. There's no extra. Awesome. JackieTheJokeman.com. Boom.
And that's my next point. At Peasy, it's no secret that Jackie is not really a fan of technology, and it kind of pisses them off. So what I'm curious.
No, wait a minute, Mike. Wait a minute. I was the very first comic that ever sold stuff at his gigs. I worked in the 70s. I worked in a recording studio. I learned how to make a record. I recorded my own gigs at Cinnamon at that restaurant rather. Chopped it up and made LPs, and I was selling at the door.
No doubt about that. That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say, like, when social media started getting hot, how hard was it for you to transform yourself to get into that, to say that, you know what, I have to get on this and be on board with Twitter and with Facebook and with all this other stuff? Because you're around a long time.
I'll tell you the truth of it. It's crazy. Because when I started doing comedy albums, I was chopping up 1/4-inch reel-to-reel tape with a razor blade and using splicing tape. And it was unbelievably painstaking. And all of a sudden they come out with a program that you're doing it on the computer and you could back up 17 steps and erase what you, it was so ridiculously easy. It was crazy.
Now you learned how to do that yourself.
Yeah. But I had been collecting addresses and sending out mailings for 20 years. And all of a sudden all you had to do was click. It's mind boggling.
Crazy.
I wish that earlier in the Stern Show, if it had, because it really hadn't really blossomed the way it has. Could you imagine if at the height of the Stern Show in like 1995, 1997, the Twitter and I'm sure it blows up now, but then, wow, it was,
Hey,
it was still crazy the way it was,
Well, I think what Sauce was trying to say, though, I think he was trying to mention that. I think what he was trying to say was that it's that technology has changed so much now. It's harder to embrace than it was then. Before we had this fashion of sense. The way we had to do things was like stick a label on it and mail it and do all these different things. And these things started to slowly evolve. But now the technology's moved so quickly. It all happens with this little device in everyone's hand. And it's radically changed things to the point where it's hard to embrace. Even I find it. I'm not that much younger than you, but I still find it difficult to constantly.
Because it's a moving train.
Yes.
By the time you learn how to sneeze, you got to fart. It's crazy. You wake up the next morning and it's like, oh no, nobody's doing that anymore.
But you know what I'm saying? PZ, look, I'm an entrepreneur and I love it. And the one thing that I respect about Jackie is that it was an ongoing joke that she would make this and sell. He sold everything he could sell under the sun. But who give a shit? It was $1 here, $5 there, $10 there, and then you bought a house, right, Jackie? They don't realize it.
Well, when you sold a record, you were selling a record and you were making $5, but you were also selling an advertisement for yourself. To this day, I have people come up to me at gigs with a record that I've autographed or that they asked me to autograph, or with a cassette from 30 years ago. That's so much fun. And somebody says, "Oh, I bought your first CD, in 1994, and I gave it to my kid last year." I love that shit. And it's people still wear the Stump the Joke Man T-shirts and all that crap. It was just part of my whole thing. That Stump the Joke Man. If you stump me with a joke, people got a shirt.
Yeah,
it was fun.
You're ahead of your time. Clearly ahead of your team.
You were smart. And then even went to the Broadway Comedy Club. Remember that night, Rapizzi, you went to see him over there? And he spun that wheel. I thought that was great.
What was even better, though? We that night, it was like a crappy night. There wasn't that many people. And I remember thinking, this is the kind of night, it was the most difficult night to do a show in, because we had a small crowd and it was like raining or snow. I don't remember. It was just a bad night.
It was probably Monday Night Football or something.
There was something major going on. It was like a really weird night. And Jackie, I remember thinking, this is the kind of night I would go and actually just say, hey, folks, let's all just have a cup of coffee and go, just close it off. And this guy went on and did a 2-hour and 15-minute show and held everybody, a small audience.
We talked about that.
We had a great time, right? It was
an awesome time.
Me and PZ,
that's the show I plan on doing in the future. After my book's done, I'm going to be doing that show with, I called him Willie Nelson. The wheel with all the categories.
That's a great idea.
People coming up and reading jokes and telling jokes and making.
But it was over 2 hours. It was 2 hours of entertainment, and it wasn't like it was like going up and down and falling. It was like a consistently flowing. It was like beautiful. It's like enjoying music for a whole concert. It was so. It taught me something about entertainment that I didn't know. In other words, I would have given up in a position of this, and you actually kind of learned. Yeah. I learned watching from you.
He actually said that.
I learned something.
But John, I would bet if the situation was reversed, you would have stepped in just the way you don't say, well, there's only 10 people here, I'm not going to give it my all. That's how you're built. It's funny. I met Barbara, my new girlfriend. 2 years.
My old girlfriend.
She's been a booking agent. She's a booking agent. She's a partner at Omnipop in Hicksville. Now, she's been doing this for 30 years, but we never crossed paths because they book bands and comedians, and I never needed that because I was on the show and everything. And I ran into her because she was working with the opening act for me at the brokerage. And we crossed paths, And she was so adorable. And I said, look, are you married? She said, no. And I'm like, whoa. And I took a picture with her and said, look, we really should go to dinner. Give me a shot. And she hadn't heard of me, so she didn't know quite what to think. And I sent her a link to a couple of those shows at Broadway Comedy Club.
Really?
Where there's no people, just me up there making fun of people on stage.
Yeah.
And she said she's not really a big fan of dirty jokes. She was never a Howard Stern fan. She said she fell off the couch laughing. She said, just because you're so rude and insulting and dirty, but so charming with those women that they just are having the time of their life up there. And she said it was something like she had never seen. So she decided to give me a chance. Madly in love. And it's,
it's a
whole thing. Same as you, John. You get people there. You know what you can do and you know what you can't do.
I know what you're saying. I know, but I also know there's a certain mentality when you walk into a situation. It's almost like you walk in with a knife and there's 30 people with a gun and you're like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to get shot. And you just turned around and went and knifed everybody. And it was like, and you held it. And I remember thinking to myself, it was motivated me. It was motivational to see somebody go into a situation that was so difficult and then not just bail and do 45 or an hour and get out. You did 2 hours and 15 minutes and it was whole. You held it, but not even talking about that. I want to just back up a second because I know.
Hold on. I just want to say something. I really appreciate everything you're saying, but a certain amount of people are going to walk away from this last half an hour going, oh, Martling's not drawing people anymore.
No, that's not the case. No, I've been to your shows where we couldn't get in. No, that's not the case. You know as well as I do. We book you out for events where it's sold out. That's not.
It wasn't your fault. There was a bomb scare.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, there was something about your eyebrows looking like they were done by ISIS terrorists.
No, but
hey, John, tell Sausage not to use the word bomb.
Jackie could insult you, and I relate that kind of. And it's a compliment. Don Rickles. Yeah. You'd want Don Rickles to abuse you.
Absolutely.
He could abuse the whole room and nobody'd be mad at him.
All right, now listen. I have a surprise for you guys.
Oh, please keep your shirt on.
I have a joke that's too dirty for my act. Now, the way I do my act is I like to make people laugh and then hit them again, then hit them again, hit them again. But I can't do anything that slows people up. So if I do anything that makes people think after the fact, then maybe they don't catch the next setup and it throws me off. That's why I don't hardly do any Jesus jokes because somebody might laugh and then think, oh, am I going to hit by lightning? And they miss the next setup. This joke is so dirty that I can't, in my act, I can't afford that. People going, ooh. But not only that, you could tell this joke on regular radio, on terrestrial radio, and you can tell this joke to a 5-year-old kid.
Wow.
But I can't use it in my act. Are you ready?
Hit us.
A lady calls the doctor and she says, Doc, I have diarrhea. Can I take a bath? And he says, if you got enough.
That's a good one over dinner.
Fucking guy.
I love it. But wait,
where were we?
I got an interesting question here because this is something I've been thinking about, and
8 inches. The answer is 8 inches.
Oh, now we know you're delusional. So,
I'll tell you the truth, that's too wide for a lot of women.
It's just they have big vaginas. That's the problem. Hey, don't do that. It comes down the nose. So this is, I don't know if I spoke to you about this, Sausage, or not, but what I was thinking about that's really interesting is that, so I know you sent me a couple of previews of the book when you were writing it. I still have them here on my iPhone. And the book is not only going to be interesting and kind of informative and also a little span of your life, but there's also something that I read a lot. I laughed a lot as I was reading the stuff you previously sent me.
Little span. He's fucking old. That's a large span.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, he started on the Nina and the Pinter and the Santa Maria. And then, so then what happened was I was reading your
Not only that, Peasy, I was fucking the broads that those boats were named for.
Oh, that was a good touche.
Thank you.
But my thing, I brought this up to Sausage. I'm not really sure if I don't know if you remember. I think it was you, Sausage. So is Stern going to put you on and help you sell this book? And that's a bet I have with Sausage.
Yeah, we have a bet.
Yes or no? Yes or no? What's going to happen with that? That's an interesting.
I can't say no even though I know I don't expect him to, and I really don't think he will, but I don't want to say no because you never know. But I kind of know, you know, I mean, there's nothing horrible in the book. There really isn't, you know, but one thing I will tell you, every syllable in this book is true. There is not a falsified, invented word, not one. So,
and that's
I mean,
something else
people might not be thrilled with what's in there, but it is gospel.
I don't know if people realize this too about Jackie. And this is, I mean, Jackie, I don't know you a million years as long as Minervini, but what I do know about Jackie, and you know, those two sausages, that the guy, whatever you ask him a question, he gives you he never bullshits you, he never stretches it. He never, whatever it is, it is. If I ask him something seriously, you know, he'll always tell you the truth. And I kind of really respect that, because even if it's something that's painful.
Except when I asked him if it was going to hurt, and he said no, and it hurt.
You know what's funny is people ask me about, you know, tell me the truth about when you left the show. And I tell them, and they'll go, well, that's what you said 15 years ago. I'm like, well, yeah, because that's what happened. You know, like, you know what they say? If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
It's true. Yeah. No, it's true. You know, Peasy thinks that he may have you. I'm saying I don't know if he has it in him to have it on you. I think as he gets older, as you get older, there's a lot of water under the bridge. You guys were friends at one time, and I think
me and Peasy.
No, you and Mr. Stern. I think that
we're friends. There is no animosity.
But he should be a gracious guy, and I think he should have you on. That's my opinion. I think that
I want to see him get the sales. You want to get the sales.
Yeah, but besides the sales, I think it would be a very nice gesture and something that would you know, I think he should do it. I think it would be very nice.
And you know what? And Michael, most people totally agree with you, but you know, there are things in there that he's not going to be thrilled with. It's not really walking horribly out of school, but you know,
it's showbiz, whatever.
It is. The whole radar online that said that you never know if they're telling one word of truth, because there was an article that said, you know, Jackie asked Robin Quivers to do his forward, and she said no, and then Fred said no, and then Gary said no, so Jackie had to settle on Artie, which is all absolute fabricated lies. You know, I want Artie to do the forward, and I asked them, and he said yes. But there's all kinds of stuff that says Howard Stern has forbidden anybody from talking about Jackie's book or being involved in Jackie's book. But people lie so much. I doubt if he said anything like that or did anything like that.
You know what? To be honest, I don't know him as well as you do, obviously, but I wouldn't put it very far past that point that he may have said. He probably wouldn't have to say anything for people just to get nervous enough.
Right. People, you know, yeah, you don't have to. He wouldn't have to say that out loud.
Absolutely.
People wouldn't just
now, you also know that. Remember one thing, Jackie. Right now, today, Mr. Stern has interviewed and talked to people that you would have never thought in a million years would ever get on that show and talk to this guy.
Very true. Right? Very true.
Well, you know what? I really have no idea what goes on in that show. I have never listened to it when I was on.
Rosie O'Donnell. You ever think that you would ever hear this?
But people tell me that, you know, it's very different. Other people are telling me that they're going back and re-editing the old shows and taking stuff out, which is kind of scary. But
absolutely.
But people are allowed to change. You know, if
absolutely.
the show is grown and decide not to talk about this, not talk about that, and he wants to kiss this person's ass and not that. That's his prerogative. He's allowed to do whatever he wants to do.
Even that, Jackie, you know what? Now, if he wants to go more mainstream, he wanted to go on NBC and be a judge. He had to do something. He had to sacrifice some of what he used to be.
Hey, imagine people saying, hey, did you hear Red Fox has got a television show? Yeah, now he's on network TV and he's not even cursing anymore.
Exactly.
Do the math. You know, that's what he chose to do. Not gonna, you know. But Red Fox also got to the point where he could look at you out of the corner of his eye and you knew he was saying, you fucking idiot, you know? So,
I put it this way. Everybody has their price.
And I'll tell you right now, my price is pretty low. So call 516-922-9463. That's all I need to know.
You know something? No, I think it's interesting though. I don't know him like you don't know him either, but I met him when I did the AGT, and he was really kind to me. He was very nice, and your manager, your old manager, and everything. He was really cool to me too. Everybody was. I had no conflicts or issues. But do you get?
To tell you the truth, John, you come off a little like a retard, so they might have felt sorry for you.
Like this?
You can't say retard.
Yeah. You have to say.
You got to say dotard.
All right. Stop acting like an immature person. No, let me ask you this, though. Do you get annoyed or tired of hearing people asking you these questions about the past that was only that was it 15 years of your life or 12? I don't know how many years.
No, I get tired of people asking me if I get tired of those questions. Of course I don't get tired of it.
I don't know.
It was a big part of my life. I thoroughly enjoyed every second. I had so much fun. The first time I sat down on that show in February of 1983, It was me and Howard and Robin and Fred. And the last day that I was on the show in March of 2001, it was me and Howard and Robin and Fred. And I had as much fun that last day as I did the first day. I never had a problem with the show, how much fun it was, or with billing. It was always just an absolute freak show, field day. I had more money than I ever thought I'd make in my life. You know, it's so funny. I was so poor forever. You know, I had no money in college, no money in the 70s. We're playing rock and roll. And, you know, we're getting laid, smoking pot, getting drunk, but making no money. And then I bailed out and started in comedy. I have no idea why. I made no money for a while. I didn't get a paycheck from the Stern Show until 1986. The first 3 years I was there, I worked for free. And then I got a paycheck. Wow. I was with Nancy, and I would open up my wallet, and I'd say to her, look at this, man, $100 bills. And she said to me, what's wrong with you? You know, you're so melodramatic. There's $100 bills in your wallet. And I'd say to her, listen, I wasn't 19 or 20 and all of a sudden got a job. If you go 38 years opening your wallet and there's no money in there and all of a sudden there's $100 bills in there, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's true.
It was a big deal. And we made money. And I went places and did things I never thought I'd do. And
you know, I will
talk about it till the ends of the earth.
I'm happy to hear that it doesn't annoy. Like some people I work with, like I don't know what's his name. He used to be on Good Times. You know, Jimmy Walker.
Oh, and he was I work with Jimmy Walker, and he wants to kill people. When they say dynamite, yeah, he won't say fucking dynamite, Jimmy. Yeah. Shit, Jesus Christ.
The way we know him. So some people it bothers, other people enjoy that. So I'm glad to hear that you enjoy it. Then the other thing,
John, it's got to drive you crazy too. It's been well over 16 years, and people still come up to me and say, "I miss you," like I quit last month.
Like it's,
you know what I mean? It's like it's so fresh in people's minds. It's kind of flattering, as crazy as it is. They're like, you know, they think they know you though, because what happens is, I mean, I got to know you over the years, and I found out who you really were, and it's such, and people don't know how. And I'm not kissing your ass here, but people don't know that you're a really cool guy to hang with. You're really, and what you always tell the truth and all that kind of stuff. It's really a nice thing, and a lot of people have this negative connotation too from the show because they've slanted you in a certain way to make you a cheap or a problem, or you know, all these kind of.
Well, he is cheap, but
all right. You know, it's so funny when I was at the Friars Club in like whatever year, 2003 or something, and I was there on a Thursday night, and I ran into Ian Carr, who's now one of my best friends.
Yeah,
love Ian.
I did the radio show with him for 8 years, but I met him at the Friars Club, and he was a huge Stern fan.
Yes.
And he said, "Wow, Jackie the Joke Man." I said, "How you doing?" And this is not a lie. 5 minutes after we started talking, he just shook his head and said, "Holy shit!" He says, "You are not the guy from that show." Because I'm so far from that guy, but I never had a problem with who I was being portrayed as.
Of course.
He's fucking with me. I'm writing some of the stuff he was saying about me. I mean, it was God, you know?
And this is something else people don't know. You know, Sausage, you've been there too. Jackie has Jokeland attached on his property, and in Jokeland,
yes,
he has right behind him, right in those walls there, he has walls all around. People understand what Jokeland is, but all around this tremendous room is volumes. And by the way, I don't know if you want people to know this, and we didn't speak about it. You said you could speak about anything besides your small cock. So you all around his volumes and volumes of everything he's written from the show, including fucking napkins of stuff he wrote at restaurants. Like, I'm over at his Joke Land one day, and I said to him, I was talking about some comedian. He goes, "Oh, I wrote him a joke in 1972 at the so-and-so diner in fucking Utah." And I'm like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." And he goes, "Yeah." And then 2 days later, he snaps a picture of it with his iPhone and emails me the napkin with the jokes, the date, the time.
Well,
like,
you're talking about something and then you stumble across it. It's always funny to send it to somebody.
I appreciate that, though, because it's so detailed and so.
Yeah, I got a picture in his book, I think, of a joke that said "save" on it. I don't know what it was. You sent me before with some pictures. It was a joke or something, and it said "save." I think Hicks.
Oh, that's probably the original copy of the two-bagger that I sent to
Rod, two-bagger.
Which caused them to call. That's the joke made him call me up. Wow. You know, that's a world-famous situation. You know, I didn't write the joke, but I heard it, and then when I knew I had a conduit to Rodney, according to Richie Minervini's bullshit, right. I said, "Wow, what a perfect joke for him," and I sent it to him. After Richie said, "Well, I can't get it to him because I'm a liar." It's
the iCar. It's the way that you're the way you archive things over time, and it's done. It's like that. It's like a German person, like, "I will get every single line inside my book." It's like nothing went by you, and you still have it all cataloged. So to me, I always tell them I'd like to just spend a week in that room, just reading everything and absorbing it all.
Let me tell you what. Sausage was asking me before. It was so scary after all the years I had been doing this. When I started doing my albums, I have the name for every joke, like 1, 2, 3, 4 words that click me to the joke. If I see 3 words, I know what joke I'm talking about. And I had a system, and in parentheses, I'd have like PL for Polish, or J for Dirty Johnny, or HB for Jewish. And in some jokes, I would have multiple listings, but this was all done by typewriter. And when the computer really started to catch on, I was so freaked out because I knew what a gargantuan task it was going to be to get the jokes in the computer. And I put off getting the computer, and then all of a sudden somebody told me about optical scanning. And I'm telling you, me and Nancy used to lie there and be watching TV, and I would get up and put another huge stack of my typewritten pages in the optical scanner. And if you've ever used one of those, it's almost like starting from scratch because you have to make so many corrections. But that's how I got all the hundreds and thousands of jokes.
But Peasy, that this guy's brain works. I saw you in that golf cart, and I would just point at shit: tree, acorn, brick. Tire. And this fucking guy has a joke for every. There's not one thing that you can tell you a joke.
But you know something, Sausage, a lot of people don't know this about Jackie. And after having dinners with him for years, people don't know, but he was in college. He was a wrestler for one thing, but he was also he's a really smart man in math.
No, I was not a wrestler. I was a gymnast.
I saw a picture of you wrestling in your house, but you were also a math guy. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm sorry. That was his personal pictures. So
it was porn. It was porn.
No, actually, no. It said buffering. So maybe you were freeze framed. It said buffering. So apparently, it was like you were really great at math. So you have a highly analytical, digital type mind that's analytical and mathematical in some way. Because you say, "I see this symbol, it equals that. This equals that." You're looking at it through math. On the other hand, though, Jackie. You have to, in order to do comedy, you have to have the right and the left brain kind of working. So it's almost like a dichotomy of thinking. And so I really appreciate, when I see you do comedy, I see how your mind is working. I see the mind.
Let me tell you, I went to college at Michigan State, and I graduated in 1971 as a mechanical engineer. Mm-hmm. I was always really great in calculus and chemistry and everything. It's all equations. And all a joke is an equation. You're given a certain amount of information and you wind up with a solution. It's very mathematical. My whole life, I've been pretty smart. I never applied any of my degree to anything except all these jokes, and I just know the jokes. But it's amazing. Very smart people, many, if not most very smart people, love jokes and loved dirty jokes. Now, I don't know if I told you guys this, but this is true, and it's so funny. I was at a film festival, and the guy came up to me, about maybe 65 years old, Jewish guy. He says, Jackie, I got to tell you a story because I know you're going to love this. He says, I used to have a vocal teacher, a vocal coach, and his grandfather was one of the world's most famous cantors. His name was Yosel Rosenblatt. I couldn't make that up. Yosel Rosenblatt. Okay. He was a world famous cantor at the turn of the century. And at the time, and I don't know about now, but cantors were famous. Like he knew Enrico Caruso and he knew the New York Yankees. He was part of the glitter eye of New York City and of the East Coast. And one of his best friends was Albert Einstein. And this guy's grandfather told him that Albert Einstein was a huge fan of filthy jokes. He said, I know you want to hear that, Jackie. And Einstein, this is true, Einstein's favorite joke was, my dick's not that big, but I love every foot of it. And then this show came on that's called Genius. It's about the life of Einstein. And he was a whorebag. You know, he met his own cousin. He cheated on his wives. He was a sex maniac.
It's beautiful to see.
Yeah, that was his book, right? Einstein, Foot by Foot. Jackie, tell John about one of your many women that you had in college that you woke up and there was a crutch by the bed. That story is one of the best stories in my book. It's the tale of the one-legged woman.
It's in the book?
I'm not going to tell you the story, but I tell you the story about the story.
Go ahead.
I was working on the Stern Show one day a week for 3 years. For 2 years, then Howard got fired by NBC. He got rehired by K-Rock. And after a couple months at K-Rock, we went to mornings. So we get there in the morning, and a few minutes before the show. And me and Howard and Fred and sometimes Gary would sit there, shooting the shit. And after the show, we would write. But often, we wouldn't write for the show because Howard was always off the top of his head and I'd punch it up as he went along. But we'd write bits like parodies or little, vignettes, whatever they were. But we'd also shoot the breeze and we'd tell stories. And Howard would tell a story and then maybe Fred would tell a story. And every time, and I'm not bragging, but every time I would tell a story and it would be so much crazily more outrageous than any of theirs. But I'd be telling stories and I'd look and I'd see them looking at each other out of the corner of their eyes like I was slinging shit, oh, there he goes again.
Oh, it's a joke.
And there were stories that I would tell them and I'd tell them more than once. And after a couple of months of really getting to know me, they started to realize, holy fuck, I bet those stories are true. All right. And eventually I got to tell the stories on the air and they became very famous. The story of the one-legged woman.
Yes.
And the story of the urine in my mother's face. And those are huge stories that are in the book.
Oh, that's great.
The greatest tale, John, and this is a true story, is I woke up with this girl and she really did, it was a one-legged woman. I knew it before we went to bed. But I woke up in the morning and went into the bathroom and sat down because I always sat down because I'd always be hungover. I looked and there was a prosthesis, like starting from the thigh down, leaning against the corner of the bathroom. And I was like, oh, whoa. And I ran there. Now, it completely altered my life. It's the best.
He didn't remember that he banged the one-legged woman.
You got to read. You got to read where this took me in life.
I'm looking forward to it. I have it on
Years later, I lived with the girl I wound up meeting because of that, and we broke up. So I was living in this house with a junkie and a drunk, two different people,
and a one-legged woman.
a drunk and a junkie, and one of my guys that I lived with came home bombed with a girl, and he had no idea that she had one leg. And I swear on my mother, I went in the morning to go to the bathroom and sat down, and there was a leg exactly the same way, leaning against the corner of the bathroom. Like, once in a lifetime is plenty. This is the second time. Where are my mother?
You know, the worst part is,
and you couldn't make that up. You could not.
If you were really drinking really heavy that night, and she's drinking, you could just tell her, keep your eyes closed and pull out that leg from the bathroom and say, "How does this feel? I'm hard as a rock." And she's like,
but the funny part is,
she said, "Wow, you hung like a foot. You're like, you're more than you know."
And the truth is, I have no idea what happened. I have no idea.
We want Jackie.
I'm sure plenty happened. I just don't remember, you know, because when I realized of all the girls that were at the house, the best looking one was the one with one leg. And I said, well, you better drink a few beers if you're going to get past this. So I did, and I did.
But Peasy, we want Jackie's show, you know, you weren't on that night when he did the show with Ian on there on Sirius, that Jackie told that story. And then Ian had a one-upper that he slept with a girl with a colostomy bag.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. And Jackie went, holy shit.
And by the way, that's how I met Sausage, was on your show. I was on the show with you and Ian, and Sausage was there that night. That's how I met Sausage, through you on the show. So this is such a circle of weirdness, you know.
It's a circle.
Old homely. I tell you, if people like stories like that, it's not just the outrageousness of the story, but the effect it had after the fact and stuff like that. There's the book. I guarantee you that story alone is worth the price of admission. I don't know what the book costs, like $25 or something, but I'm telling you, there's not going to be, nobody is going to be disappointed. People are going to go nuts. They're going to love it.
So when the book comes out, when does the book come out? October
24th. I'm doing a book signing in Ridgewood, New Jersey at Bookends. On Tuesday, the day of the release, October 24th, I'm going to be at the book review in Huntington, which already is going to be a zoo. The whole world is coming.
Awesome. That's great.
Wednesday night, the 25th, I have off. Thursday night, the 26th, I'm at Barnes & Noble in the Upper East Side. And then Friday night, I have a big party at the Friars Club. And then Saturday, I'm at Villa, the Vault at Victor Records in Berlin, New Jersey. And I'm lining up lots of more, you know, I got out of town signings coming up, and I'm doing a lot of shows, and everybody's being so good. You know, all the local radio guys, you know.
You got to try to get that Friars Club thing, Peasy. We're not working that night.
It's a Friday night. I'm hoping I could go. What's the day of the Friday? The Friday, October 20.
Don't even. If it's a Friday night, you have 7 gigs.
It's a 27th.
Oh, let me check my calendar.
I have a 9 o'clock in Valhalla.
The only reason you'd have to check your calendars if it was Monday morning at 10:30.
I just look, dude. I'm so happy to be healthy, making a living, doing a puppet show. What the fuck? It's all good. It's all good. But you know,
Sausage. When you got an act like Pieces, you got to keep moving. You know.
He's got to keep moving. I was just talking. I said someday he's not going to be able to move. He better start thinking about doing some other shit.
All right. So this guy, the guy and his wife go to a marriage counselor. And she says to the marriage counselor, I'm not happy in my marriage. So the marriage counselor undresses her and throws her on the floor and fucks her brains out. And then he turns to the husband and says, she needs that 3 times a week. Can you make it happen? And the guy says, well, I can bring her Monday and Wednesday, but Friday I play golf.
Hey, Jack, I got somebody on Facebook that was just asking a question. We like to answer them every once in a while, and people interact with us. And
I'm glad to.
Shelton Baumgartner, he sounds a little bit Nazi-ish to me, but we'll take it anyway. He says, what makes a great comedian? Why do you think some succeed and some fail?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know the secret of becoming a great comedian. I do know there are 2 things you don't do. If you want to be a comedian, there are 2 things you don't do. One is laugh at yourself, and the other one is tell jokes. And those are the only 2 things I do. So I am not the right person to ask. You know, the reason some people are successful and some people aren't is because some people laugh at some people and they don't laugh at others. What kind of stupid fucking question is that?
Yeah, Shelton. What kind of stupid fucking question was that?
Shelton's an idiot, obviously. What
are you doing? a holiday? Shouldn't you be eating a small yarmulke or something?
It's over. It's Rosh Hashanah. And by the way, I don't know if you probably didn't see I threw a really funny Jewish joke up for Rosh Hashanah. Do you know what the shofar is? That big thing that they blow? It's called a shofar. It's like a horn that makes a noise.
Who's blowing a shofar?
The guy who's driving. No, I won't tell you the joke. You probably know the joke.
No, of course. I'm blowing the shofar.
Huh?
Hey, do you know why the blacks can't mug the Jews on Yom Kippur?
Why?
They fast.
No. Jack, did I send you the nasty joke? I think I did. About the one with the rabbi and marrying the girl from the KKK?
No, go ahead.
What's the worst part? When the rabbi marries a girl from the KKK, they got to fuck her 2 sheets.
They're fast.
I just want to let people know, by the way, everyone that's watching or anyone that's watching, that this
so in other words, you're talking to both people.
That's right. And by the way, that's you and Sausage and Rob Hicks, the director, the 3. But I want to say something interesting that people don't realize. What they're seeing tonight with Jackie here, what you see is what you get. This is not like Jackie's on. This is not like Jackie's playing a character. This is not like he's trying to be funny. This is what you are right now. This is what you see when you go out to dinner with this guy. He's just a regular dude.
If you don't like him now, you'll never like him.
Exactly.
You know, it is telling jokes. Telling jokes is a disease. It really is.
It's a lovely thing. And when
my
I was
poor
younger,
girlfriend.
Yeah,
my poor girlfriend.
Yeah, I wish I tell you. The only thing I have, I actually very envious of your career. The only thing I wish I slept with a woman with no leg. That's the only thing I'm missing at this point. Actually, a girl with one eye would even be better because at least you have a third socket.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you, one of the most disappointing things of all the things in the world is we started syndicating to Dallas, to Miami, Los Angeles, Boston. And it wasn't until like 1998 or 1999 that we got to Detroit. And I was always hoping I'd be able to announce, because I was in East Lansing, Michigan, and my friend James Willannon came up to East Lansing with a gang of people every weekend. And this girl, Debbie, they actually called her the Crip. She had been in a terrible car accident and she had lost her leg and got a big settlement. So she always bought all the booze. And she was beautiful. And she had a great body, except in those tight blue jeans, one of the legs wasn't real. But her name was Debbie. And how many girls named Debbie with one leg could there be in Detroit? So I was always hoping that somebody would hear us on the air and say, I know that girl. But it was, it was like not till 25 years later that we finally got on the air there. So I'll never know if she's alive, dead, or whatever.
Yeah, but didn't you bump into that one-legged woman once again? Didn't you bump into her one more time?
No. Lots of people used to call up and say, on April Fool's Day, hey, Jackie, it's me,
I would love this show to be the show that is the catalyst for you to meet the one-legged woman again. That would be a wonderful thing.
If you are in Detroit and you know a girl named Debbie, approximately 65 years old, give or take 5 years, and she has one leg, tell her to
you may have ruined her life. You ran out.
Well, what's she going to do? Chase me? I'd at least love to have her give me a scale of 1 to 10, how I did,
By the way, was it the right or left? Because, Republican or Democrat? No, which leg was it?
You know what? I swear to God, nobody has ever asked me that, and I have no idea.
No, you know why I'm thinking that, Jack? Because I'm thinking, as you're thinking about the one-legged, I'm thinking when she goes to the store, she only has to buy one shoe, but they come in a pair. So what did she do with the right or the left leg?
All I know is I remember I laughed out loud because we got undressed, and I said, "Spread your leg."
Very funny. Very funny. That reminds you like the joke with the
Now see, when you make a joke like spread your leg, all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, that means the whole thing was. It was up until that joke, it was all true.
No, you sound like the woman that answers the phone in the Chinese restaurant where I order. Spread your leg.
One leg. A chicken wing, one leg. So, all right. So you have all these dates coming up, and I guess they're on the website, jokeland.com.
My dates are on jokeland.com. If you want to find out where I'm working and get dirty jokes once a month, all you have to do is email me, jokeland at AOL.com. Speaking of high tech there, sausage, I'm still on AOL. Jokeland, Jokeland, Jokeland at AOL.com. Follow me on Twitter at Jackie Martling, because I always announce my gigs on there. I'm going to be in Westport on October 7th. I'm going to be at the Duress Theater in Boonton, New Jersey on October 14th. And this weekend, September 30th, I'm at the Suffolk Theater in Riverhead with, I don't know if you guys get the Optimum commercials where you are, but there's these Optimum commercials that have the Optimum movers that has nothing to do with Optimum and Cablevision. But it's a black guy and two white guys, and they're very funny. And one of the white guys is on the show with me, Joe Vexy, and a very funny guy, Rich Harkaway. Have you worked with him, John? You know,
I booked him. I booked Rich several times. He's a doctor, but he's a very fun. He's a great guy too. He's a really cool guy.
Do you know I put him on stage for the first time back in Governors in 1981? Then he took 30 years to be a doctor, and now he's back doing comedy again.
But you know something that's interesting too, that you got a guy that's a really successful doctor and makes a lot of money. His wife's a doctor as well. And yet he still has the yearning to go on stage and do dick jokes. So it just goes to show you that everyone wants to be where what we're doing, what we're doing.
You can't shake it.
You can't shake it. And you know what it is? It's like prostitution. Once you get in, you're never getting out. It just tastes too good. That's not the right wording. But
the trouble with comedy, though, it's just like being a hooker. It isn't the hours that kill you. It's the amateur competition.
I mean, I seen like me and Peasy going Tuesday night. Chaz Palminteri's having something, Dangerfield's. Now, you work with this girl, Tara Conestracci. I see a lot now. You've been working with her.
She opened for me last night. She's a very good friend. I love her. She just got herself a great new boyfriend that owns a restaurant, so we eat. We're all going to eat at 808 in Eastchester. I didn't even know there's a place called Eastchester, you know.
So you book her as the opening act so you can get a free meal?
I don't really book her as an opening act here and there because she's really great. I met her at Yonkers Comedy Club.
Yeah.
She's really great. She really is great, and she's adorable. And
she's hardworking. She's very hardworking.
Very hardworking, and not too tough on the eyes. So you know.
I see she's always on social media and stuff. So they were having something. So I gave a donation to go support. I'm going to go there Tuesday night. Give her my love. I know she does a lot of work with Chaz Palminteri. He's a pretty good guy. How do you want me to give her your love exactly? Which way?
In the butt. In the fan. That's the perfect place to fanny.
Now, Jackie, I know you were working on that book a long time. How long did it take you to complete this book?
You have no idea. When I started working on that book, the way the first forward started was, I'm sitting here in a lonely cafeteria at JFK with Gilbert Gottfried. We're about to fly to Las Vegas to do The Watcher, which is a show.
How much equal did he steal? Did he steal?
That was 1994. 1994. And then I kept doing chapters. And then when the internet hit, I started writing out some of those stories I used to tell on the Stern Show and put them on my website. And then I started writing more stories and more stories. And then I almost got a deal. And then I wrote some more. So it's been trickles and trickles. The truth is, though, my book is 300 pages. It's about 30 or 35% about me. And then the rest is all about me on the Stern Show. But I have the exact same book. Again, another 300 pages that's 30% me and 70% Stern. It's the same book, except it's completely different stories.
Wow.
So if anybody likes the first book and say, wow, I could read more of this.
Wow.
The next one ready right behind it. And
I'd like to
fun,
hear,
man. If you're laughing out loud, people tell me they're laughing out loud when they're reading. That's a pretty nice testament,
I want to hear that. I want to hear it read by you.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And I also want to hear it in the voice of Robin Quivers, like with that you used to do that bit where you come on and make believe, like, oh
no. The greatest stuff happens organically. Robin her book came out, and she gave everybody a copy of the book.
Right.
And then after the show that day, we were all going to a movie screening. And like 6 or 8 of us piled into a limo, even though we're only going 3 blocks to HBO. And we're stuck in traffic. So we're going nowhere. And we're all climbing the walls, kind of looking at each other. And I just reached in my bag and took out her book and opened it random and started reading it. And everybody was peeing in their pants. And they said, all right, first thing tomorrow. And the next thing, first thing tomorrow was like, you know, I decided to wear something really low cut and stunning because that's what made my breasts look fantastic.
I thought that was hilarious.
Jackie, did you have to go to a studio to read that, or could you do that at your house?
No, audible.com. Bruce from Audible is just the sweetest guy. And, you know, you'd think that reading a book would be the most boring, horrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
3 days of sitting there reading my stories, and you can't ad lib. You can't fool around. You got to read what's on the page. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. And when they got done, the editor and the recorder said, we've been doing this for 25 years. And that was probably the most fun of an author read autobiography. A lot of guys don't read their own autobiography. And they said, it was so much fun. They said, your fans are going to go out.
Were you laughing, Jackie? Were you laughing as you were reading?
Of course he was laughing.
No, you know what? At most I was, except there's a couple places where there's a joke. And wherever there's a joke, I went fucking wild, you know.
It was actually, but his book is fun. Most people are reading, you know, telling you about bullshit, boring things. This is a fun. It's to feel good. This is like eating.
But that's the funny thing about Jackie. You know, we go on a show. Remember, PZ would make you read a joke. He give everybody a joke.
I remember him yelling at me constantly when I read it wrong. That's
right.
He'd be like, PZ, do it again, do it again.
And Jackie would tell you, make sure if there's a character's voice, do the character's voice.
Right.
If there's a girl, do it as a girl. And you know, and he'd make you do it that way. Yeah. And obviously, it works a lot better the way he teaches you to do it.
And it come out good, right?
Yeah.
I always tell people, my jokes are written out precisely the way they're told. You know, I have a joke book coming out right behind my regular book here, called the app. Well, I forget what it's called. The ultimate joke book is coming out after this. And
he's really
they're all pared down. They're all pared down to no extra crap in the joke. And there's certain rules that you follow that make it work. And when people adhere to them, they're amazed how, you know, and it's so fun to see somebody get to the end of the joke and see them laugh at what they're reading. It's just so much fun. But there's some very serious crap in this book. And I read it very seriously, and I got choked up here and there. And, you know, it's real. You know,
so you have some stuff some true life stuff that's serious. Well, yeah,
you know, I lost a couple of brothers, and I went through very, very hard stuff. And me and Nancy had bumps, you know, and you got to be honest. You know, a little pain never hurt anybody.
No, there's no doubt about it. You know, especially when you're the guy getting it, and I'm not.
To tell you the truth, I actually missed your radio show on Sirius. I really, I was a big fan of it.
I like that too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really a real lot of fun. And I don't
know, they never told us. They never told us why they pulled the plug. I guess because they were cleaning up the station or whatever. But I've had so many people say, you know, why'd you stop doing the show? They think I just stopped, like I got tired of it or something. Right. And I love doing that show. Like, you know, I'm telling jokes, but you guys are telling jokes, and I'm correcting you. We're fooling around. We're breaking chops with the listeners. You know, there were truck drivers that just would know that show. That, you know, I got emails for years afterwards. You know, what the hell happened? You know, that
Ian was great.
Started doing it, they were rerunning that thing 6 times a week. Yeah, so it was easy to recatch, and you like to listen to it a couple times because you can learn the jokes that way. You know,
PZ, my favorite part of that whole thing was we went out to the Palm afterward to eat, and I met Christopher Cross, and I thought that was like the coolest thing, man, to meet. You know Christopher Cross, right, PZ?
Yeah, but that's kind of like not the person that would make me happy to see.
Nah, but
but if it's some celebrity that you've always wanted to see, that's
absolutely like, you know, and he was cool as shit. You know, really a nice, cool guy. You know, it was just one of those things. This would get a lot of popular songs. You wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Great character. Great.
I was listening to CC Peniston this morning on the treadmill. I'm like, CC. But you know, the best part for me is that I remember when the first time I did those shows with Jackie. At the end, every time, and you have it too, Saucers. Even the one that you and I were on together once or twice, we have CDs with audio left over. You know, I have the shows on CD. and I can listen back to them at any time or put them up in the air and I wish I had the whole series of the shows because I really love just listening to jokes and the delivery and the banter between you and the other host. And
well, I'm sure Jackie will sell them to you.
Well, I'll tell you, there were 402 shows.
Wow.
I have every one. I have the scripts to every one. And if you just look, I have a file. I'll send it to you.
I know you do.
Start reading the file of just the 402 show names, you'll pee your pants.
You have a file of everything, and you don't know who this girl with one leg from Chicago is. It doesn't make any sense. There's no sense there going on.
Yeah. Never been able to find her.
Yeah,
Debbie from Detroit.
The names are really good. I was one some Chinese name there. It was really funny.
Well, Ian's favorite show was The Deadliest Snatch.
What's Ian doing now besides his regular producing commercials and stuff like that?
Ian is doing incredible stuff. His IKA Productions is producing all kinds of stuff for Fox and for cable. He does so much stuff. And he's also working on a Jackie Martling documentary, which is so funny. And he just interviewed Penn Jillette, and he sent me the tape. And I can't believe how kind Penn Jillette is to me. Like, it's funny because I get things all the time from average people saying, "You're a jerk. You tell old jokes. You got no talent. You're a piece of crap." And here's a major talent like Penn Jillette saying Jackie's, collecting the genealogy of humor in America, and it's so much fun. And he's an archivist.
Yeah, Penn's a gentleman.
If you realize what I'm doing, it has a sense it's a sense of purpose, but I'm doing it to make money and because I love it.
Of course.
But it's also a huge collection to pass on. It's funny, Red Fox, he told dirty jokes on 33 and third RPM records, and he was the first one to do it. And he'd be up there rattling off jokes. And at one point, I'll never forget, on one of his records, he's telling dirty jokes. And all of a sudden he looks at this woman and he says, "Don't look at me, lady. Somebody's got to tell him."
But Jackie, you've become that guy on some level.
I know that, and I love the mantle.
Yeah. Hey, PZ, he had a great idea because was something that we talked about, but I said that Jackie had already thought about it. He wanted to get one of them big, what are those big buses?
A Winnebago. Put a couple of screens in it and go around the country. My new thing is what I want to do is get a Winnebago and go around and tell jokes to people and stop in at like beauty salons and bars and, regular little bars.
As you go across the country.
Tell jokes. But I want to tell a joke in front of every national monument. Imagine me telling a dirty joke in front of Mount Rushmore, the St. Louis Arch, the Grand Canyon, the Golden Gate Bridge. It would just be so silly. It'd be so fun. Nothing to do with
big stars. You got these big stars. This documentary. Tell her, write you a check and let's sponsor it across the country. That would be so much fun.
And what my dream is that we're going to do that, and there'll be a website. And as we go, say from Pittsburgh to Detroit, in the old movies, how they'd have the dotted line on the map showing where you're going.
The little red line.
If you're looking on the web and you see that we're on our way to Detroit, don't you want to meet the band and tell jokes? I mean, come on. How fun, right?
Almost like when Santa's coming on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, remember that? Remember that used to have that? Used to tell you where he was on that 976 number, right?
Yeah, he'll be here. He'll be here any minute.
Yeah. I could just see that little line going with that Benny Hill music.
Now, all right.
That worked for a while till one time the phone rang in my house downstairs and my brother answered it. And when my brother's answering it, I was upstairs and I saw my Uncle Clem on the phone going, "Hello? This is Santa Claus." I'm going, "Wait 1 minute, motherfucker."
Now, I wish I could get to some of these. I'm going to take a look at my schedule, but if I can, I'm going to come to one of your book signings just to say hello. That'd be so much fun, and get the autograph.
Ridgewood, New Jersey is Monday night, the 23rd. I don't know where.
I'm at that theater. I'm at the theater in Westchester County. What is that? The Westchester
Premier Theater. Boy, you better bring a bulletproof puffet.
Wait a minute. No.
The book is out the 24th or the 23rd?
The 24th. It's coming out the 24th. Please pre-order at JackieTheJokeman.com. And, it's so funny. And I've been telling everybody, people say, well, I want a signed copy. And I say, listen, just buy a copy and mail it to me with an envelope with return postage, and I'll sign it and throw something.
Really cool.
Send it back. And people wrote on the website and they wrote on Facebook, return postage. I guess you'll never change, huh, Jackie? Like, I'm offering to do something nice like that.
That's
and asking them to pay the return postage. Like, oh, you'll never change. You know?
We're supposed to pay $8 to send it back to you, you motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah, he gets 1,000.
Same cheapskate, Jackie, huh?
No, you know what I would do now? I would just say, okay, send me the book and not send it back and resell it again.
That's a secret. Well, Jackie, you're always a delight. And you know something, we got to do it. I want to definitely do this again. We've gone like a half hour overtime.
That's okay.
I'm so happy that we got you to come in, and maybe we could do this again later in the future. But it's
Very
nice
happy.
to let people see who Jackie really is. I mean, this is
now listen, what I'm known for is this. September 30th at 8 p.m. I will be at the Suffolk Theater in Riverhead with Joe Bexey, one of the Optimum Movers, and my good friend Rich Harkaway. You will love him. October 7th at the old Westport. I don't even know what they're calling it anymore. The Westport Bistro in the old location for cheap old Brad Axelrod and the boys of I-95 Connecticut. He's a great guy. I've been working for him forever.
We'll put that inside
club at the Darris Theater in Boonton, New Jersey, which is supposed to be a beautiful. I love these old vaudeville houses, man. They're so much fun to work.
Yeah, but where do they get all your dates?
420. Huh?
Jokeland.com. Where do they get your dates, Jackie?
My website is jokeland.com. All my dates are on there, but I emailed the dates, jokeland@aol.com. And I always tweet where I'm going to be in the next couple of weeks. And you get great jokes at Jackie Martling. And please buy a book. I guarantee you will love the book. Jackie,
is it 100% money back guarantee or just a little bit?
100%. I will keep 100% of your money. I guarantee.
and a free joke machine in case we don't like it. So and the other thing is too, maybe Hicks, Mr. Hicks, our producer, could put down in our show notes. We could put down the links to all that.
We'll have all his links and everything there.
No, the Axelrod where he's going to be these couple upcoming dates.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what? I have an actual link that shows all the book signings. If you just go to jokeland.com/book-signings, it gives all 5 book signings. And you can't escape me. If you really want to find me, you can't lose.
Well, I know one person.
I appreciate John. You got to tell Pat Cooper and all that whole line of Italians. I haven't seen them in a long time.
Pat Cooper loves you.
I got to be friends with John Gotti Jr., and I just found out 2 days ago that he has the same birthday as me.
Get out of here.
What are you threatening us now? Don't try to threaten us.
I was born on Valentine's Day, and so was Florence Henderson, and so was Mayor Bloomberg, or whatever his name is.
Wow, some crew. A mobster, an old washed-up actress, a Jew mayor, and Jackie a joke
Did
man.
you call me a washed-up actress? Florence Henderson passed away. You big fucking piece of sausage shit.
I tell you, you know who's born on my birthday? Believe it or not, because I love put down, Yuba. Guess who?
You.
No, yeah, I know I'm born on my
Don
day.
Rickles.
Don Rickles is born on my day, May 8th. It's on my birthday.
That's great.
Isn't that interesting? But
I think birthdays are. What are the odds? Like Lincoln and Washington, all those guys were born on holidays.
And by the way, we hope you love Jackie. This is what you see is what you get with Jackie. We love you, Jackie. And we also want to say, if you like us, please subscribe below. And the below.
Click the subscribe button.
We need more subscribers. And if you like us or you don't like us, we'd like to know. Leave some messages underneath our Facebook and let us know what you feel about.
Now let's see if Jackie.
Rob, you got to do me a favor. You have to email me or tweet to me precisely what I should tweet or put on my Facebook.
Absolutely.
So people can see this or access these guys' show, because I have no idea. You just got to say, Jackie, cut and paste this link.
We know you don't know what the fuck you're doing. We understand.
Nobody sees what Rob looks like. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm taking a picture of Rob, our producer, so they could all see what we're seeing here. There's Rob Hicks.
The guy with the Hitler haircut.
Sausage. Sausage.
Yes,
the
sir.
name of the show is A License to Eat.
That's fucking funny guy.
Hey, let me tell you one last joke. A girl goes to the gynecologist. She says, "Doc, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I keep finding postage stamps from Costa Rica in my vagina." He examines her and says, "Lady, those aren't postage stamps. Those are the stickers from bananas."
I'm going to be 14 forever. That's all I know. I love it.
Hey, Peasy, you think he's going to take the lead on the replays? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Who's got the lead on the replay?
The lead on the replays right now is Kreskin. Kreskin has like 175,000 views in 4 weeks. I have a feeling Jackie will do 200,000 in 4 weeks.
Okay.
We're pushing.
Did you ever hear my Kreskin story?
No.
Go ahead.
I was on the dais for the Hugh Hefner roast.
Yes.
They didn't want me on there, but nobody would show up from California because it was a couple of weeks after 9/11 and everybody's too afraid to fly. So I'm on the dais for the Hugh Hefner roast, and I actually wrote a bunch of jokes that Gilbert used that killed, and that made me very happy. But the way that we would line up is you'd go single file, and the person that was the furthest to the right on the dais would go first, and then in order all the way back. So the person all the way to the left on the dais was at the end of the line. So it's like a single line, a snake of a line, and the first person. And so Kreskin was the first person in line to go. So we'd be in line on the stage. So we're in the bowels of the Hilton, and somebody comes in and says, "All right, you guys, it's showtime." So we take off to go to the stage, and Kreskin's at the head of the line. And he's leading the way. And the fucking guy got lost, and we're walking along, and all of a sudden, here comes Kreskin back the other way. And everybody's like, "How the fuck could you not know where you're going?"
You're Kreskin.
You're not so fucking amazing, pal.
Because the guy will actually put on a mask and walk around and tell you where you hid money in the room. And he gets lost in the bowels of the Hilton.
And he couldn't find his seat.
He is such a nice guy. I love Kreskin. He's such a
I got to tell you, Peasy, I wrote a joke for that dais, but I didn't get to talk. So I walked around and said, "Who wants some jokes?" And I gave Gilbert a bunch of jokes. And one of the jokes I gave Gilbert, they used as the promo on Comedy Central for the Hugh Hefner roast because it was semi-clean. He said, "Hugh Hefner is so old that his first condom was made out of bark."
You want to do it in the voice. Did you ever notice that I love Gilbert. Great guy. Fucking hilarious guy.
Yeah, but
and you know something? This wasn't an interview, Jackie, with you today. This was just like hanging out with friends. This was so enjoyable. This was my favorite show so far.
Hey, listen, I love you guys. I hope a few people see this. If we sell 2 books, I'll be thrilled. Rob, it's nice to meet you. It was nothing like seeing somebody under the gunfire. These 2 idiots trying to get a show together.
You don't even get like an affiliate code if we sell a fucking book. We don't get 13 cents.
That's right. You're right, Sausage. Wait a minute. If we were Jackie would have been like, "All right, listen, we're going to do this thing. So every book I sell, 10% goes back to you for this."
I can't believe that I sat here for 40 minutes watching these morons try and get together.
And we just figured it out.
Stupid show. And the first thing they open with is how bad I am at technology. That was the opener. Holy Christ, you.
We're the stupid Italians. Stupid Italian. What do we know? He's making sausage. I'm writing dick jokes. Nothing's going on here. There's nothing.
If you guys had a stupid contest, you'd both lose.
We love you, Jackie. It's been so much fun. Thank you for coming on. Please do it.
Thank God he didn't tell us how his family founded Staten Island. I couldn't.
Hey, we'll talk about that next time. That's a great story.
All right.
Johann Martling came to Staten Island in 1675.
Oh, here we go. Johann Martling.
Sausage, Peasy, I love you. Rob, thank you very much. I'll see you guys very soon.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. And subscribe below, folks. We hope you enjoyed Jackie Martling. And Sausage, was that so much fun or what?
Yeah, love him.
Oh, we love him. And thank you, Hicks. I know you were moving all this, the 3s, the 2s, the 1s. It's all good. Hey, if you guys
let's get out of here, man.
If you guys see it, subscribe below, say hello to us, and let us know your comments. If you love us, let us know.
Next time.
If you don't love us, don't say anything.
If they don't love us, write hate mail to Jackie.
There you go, at jokeland.com. Hey! Don't like it. I'm taking a nice shot of that. Boom. Peace out.